Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I'm starting to get more and more used to actually coming through this forest. Seems to be my calling. Who said your only calling is fast food? Shut up, you. I'm not that bad. I do eat healthy, I promise. At least when I can, anyway. I mean, I need to at this point, as we all know that this country is on the verge of civil war. But speaking of which, it's that time again. That thing that really grinds my gears. I mentioned this back when someone, Jeff Taylor I believe, mentioned some of the points that I had made in the past. Now when I made those points, I was held in, I wouldn't say contempt, more rather disregard. I was not taken kindly to when I made those remarks. And I know some people have suggested that Jeff Taylor is a bit of a fearmonger, but I'm not here to talk about Jeff Taylor. The one specific thing that is really grinding my gears right now is how I've mentioned civil war all this time, and yet there have been quite a few people who have held what I've said with a great deal of, again, disregard. And people like Richard Inman, who's just basically say, go on then, fill your boots, implying that I want to start a civil war and I should go ahead with it. And yet when Richard Inman mentions it, and only mentions right at the very end that it's a fictitious report, basically, that he's saying that this lead up to civil war is merely fiction but could become reality, everyone's giving him his praises. Now I will accept that Richard Inman is probably going to be a far better person than I ever will be, and I also accept that he's a much bigger person than I ever will be. Well, except for the width department, he's fucked in that regard. Anyway, he's a much bigger person as a whole than I am, but it pisses me off when I'm getting discredited for making these exact same points, and yet bigger people are having their praises sung about them. And I want to be clear on this. I'm not saying this because I want to sit here with like 600 million views. I'm saying it because it feels a bit hypocritical. And no, I'm not jealous. I know some people are going to come up with that bullshit excuse, but I am not going to hesitate to say if something is, as said, hypocritical. And I think to give him praises when he says it, but when I say it, a lot of people hold me in disregard. Again, very hypocritical, quite frankly. So with that chip thoroughly off my shoulder, let's move on to what I really want to talk about. The police have recently been coming out and saying we should have disclosed the identities of some of these criminals sooner. So they should have been more transparent with us when somebody has basically committed a crime. I mean, understatement of the fucking century, and you've made that statement about 6 years, no, actually 20 years too late. Why weren't you saying this shit when our girls were getting abused? Why weren't you saying that when our women were being attacked by you-know-who? You know, Sharia lovers, they love intolerance of us, they play the victim all the time. I think you know which ones I mean. Why is it we should be tolerant of those who have no tolerance for us? Why should we appease those who have no respect for us? And why should the police get any fucking credit for something that should have been said at least 20 fucking years ago? If they really cared about the ethnicity of these people, they would have done something about it when our children and our women were getting groomed and violated. So no two-tier police, you don't get to slide off the hook on this one. If anyone's going to call you out on this bullshit, it's going to be me. I only wish I'd been doing this shit back when I was in my teenage years, because fuck knows how much longer it would have been otherwise if we hadn't started speaking up. I only wish I could have mentioned it to the traitor class so that we could have actually gotten justice for our women and children a lot sooner. Because right now, women and children don't feel safe to leave their homes. And it's all because of the usual suspects, the invaders, the ones that worship that special little religion that wants Sharia across the world. Meanwhile, our two-tier policing society are more interested in arresting truth-tellers and those who want to fight back against the oligarchy for being the treacherous sectarian bastards they are. This is the two-tier policing society. Because right now, I have no respect for them. I don't care how good a job they did when we were over at Brook Hotel in Bowthorpe. I don't give a shit about how good a job they did when Tommy Robinson was doing his little protests. I care about how they've done as a whole. The good coppers, if there are any, depending upon if they're willing to call out their superiors, need to start calling out their superiors in large swathes. They need to come out and grow a pair of balls, whether up here or down there, or in my case both, and actually stick it to the super lack of intelligences. Oh, sorry, I meant the superintendents. Or maybe I was right first time. I mean, it really does make you wonder how these superintendents can actually sleep at night knowing they're going against the very people they're supposed to serve. All, of course, in the name of Islam, the people that want to turn our country into a third world shithole. And I know there are going to be people that don't like that cold bitter truth, especially the ones that are worshippers of Islam. But here's the thing, I don't give a shit what you think. The only thing I give a shit about is my country. How well is it doing? How does it serve its people? Is it a government run by the people, for the people? And you only need to look at Ker the traitor Starmer's ugly mug to know that we're definitely not a country by the people, for the people. Right now, this country serves the highest in power. It serves the career politicians, it serves the billionaires, it serves the traitors, it serves the oligarchy. It does not serve you or me, the indigenous working class. And as I've pointed out earlier in this video, this country is on the verge of civil war. We are literally one spark away and the whole country will go up, just like that. Why else do you see more and more YouTubers, more and more celebrities, more and more people saying categorically, we are on the verge of civil war? I can tell you this right now, they're not saying it for the lols, they're not saying it for the memes, they're saying it because it's going to become a fucking reality if Ker the traitor Starmer doesn't buck his ideas up. And the way I look at it is there is currently a petition right now going out over 600, if not 700,000 signatures that are people calling, I believe it was started by Nicola Cree. There are people calling for a general election in their hundreds and thousands. People are waking up to the fact that Ker the traitor Starmer is not delivering the so-called change that the people have asked for. The only changes Ker the traitor Starmer has done is he set the dial from slow to fast as far as how much this country is going to fucking cook. Now I think I know where we all went fucking wrong when reporting on, oh, the heat wave. They didn't actually mean the weather out here, they meant how quickly this country is gonna burn. And you will not find one person in the supposed far right, aka concerned parents, patriots and citizens, who will sit here and advocate for a civil war. None of us want it, but the cold truth is that's where we're heading, and it's all because of Ker the traitor Starmer, the mainstream media and the two-tier policing society who effectively act as our Prime Minister's stormtroopers. But of course the mainstream media won't tell you this. You know the drill, folks, because say it with me, it doesn't suit the narrative. It's like the start of one of those songs that we patriots made. Where have all the good men gone? Or was it, where have all the good men and women of England gone? Well, one thing's for certain, things have got to fucking change. They have got to change real quick, or civil war is inevitable. I will say this much regarding Richard Inman's little video about the Civil War case. I think it is going to start off when a Christian ends up getting stabbed and killed in the middle of Speaker's Corner or some other symbolic place in the United Kingdom. It'll then become something much worse, because once a Christian's been killed, then angers are going to boil over, and it's going to basically be a Muslim that ends up getting killed as well, and it's going to be tit for tat. And of course I have to deal with Tannoy Tina's shit. Anyway, the only people who want civil war are the violent ones who would advocate for this kind of stuff, and of course, more importantly, Ker the traitor Starmer himself, and of course the Stormtroopers. Because I've made this point before, the two-tier policing society, they don't know how to police peaceful protests, but they know how to police, can't get the words out, no, not having a stroke. They know how to police a violent protest. No, don't worry, you don't have to bring 999, at least not yet anyway. Anyway, the fact is, the police also want to have this civil war, because then they'd be able to police it. And as I've said before, the mainstream media, who do you think they're going to blame? Oh, of course they're gonna take every bloody opportunity they can to label the mythical far right as the ones responsible for it. But what the mainstream media forget is that all the concerned parents and patriots and citizens, they have not been the ones who have instigated this. It's you lot in the oligarchy that have instigated it. The police, the media, the government have been doing everything they can to instigate this war. Who were the first people to go out of their way to start libelously slandering others? That would be the left. Who were the ones who are constantly throwing out the name tags like they're going out of fashion, even though they don't know the definition of half the words they use? Again, that would be the left. And who have been the ones who have been doing everything they can to bring in new laws and new powers to restrict free speech and freedom to protest? That would, of course, yep, say it with me, is the left. Or sorry, would be the left. I mean, it's ironic considering we have been fighting to protect even their freedom of speech, and yet they're the ones who want to take it away from both sides. Make it make sense. It's like the turkeys celebrating Christmas at this point. There's going to be more and more people as time goes on who are going to be saying the exact same stuff that I am, that are saying the exact same stuff that people like Katie Hopkins, that people like Dominic Cummings, that people like Jordan Peterson, that people like Douglas Murray and Tommy Robinson have actively been saying. We are on the verge of a civil war, and they will not be able to blame us for it. The only people to blame will be the traitors themselves in the left wing and the oligarchy. It's like the left are just trying to shoot someone dead, and then they're saying, well, it's his fault because he died. Like, come on. They can sit here and pretend it's not their fault all they want. But at the end of the day, have you seen any right-wingers actively instigate these riots? Have you seen anybody instigate civil war on our side? The answer you will find to that is a very resounding no. In fact, when we've seen violence come out, we're often telling our side not to instigate or to exacerbate things. There have been plenty of times where Danny Tomo, Paul Thorpe, Richard Inman, Tommy Robinson, people like myself have been categorically saying, do not instigate this, remain calm, calm down, thank you Tannoy Tina. But we've basically been telling people not to do what the left want us to do, so that they can get the pictures, get the footage, and draw up the narrative faster than I can draw a chocolate bar out of my pocket. Thank you. Who said like the last 50 minutes? Shut up, you. I'm not that hungry, fucking hell. And besides, I only had one, and that was at lunch, because I forgot it this morning. Now shut up about it. The point I'm trying to make, other than the chocolate bar, is the fact that the oligarchy has been doing everything in their power to try and make sure that we end up in this civil war. They have been doing everything in their power to try and provoke us, to provoke a reaction, to provoke us into attacking them so that they can justify it. Well, as I said before, the thing is, something's going to give. It's either we're going to give or they are. And I'll tell you right now, we the people are not about to surrender this fucking country, quite frankly. And as I've said, I'm not going to sit here and advocate for a civil war, but if it does happen, the only people to blame will be yourselves. Not us, you. You were the ones who wanted this. You were the ones who took the piss out of us, who locked up people for their political views. You locked people up because they dared to record the Southport riots. you decided to lock people up because they dared to speak against this invasion that's going on. An invasion that I guarantee you, if it was put to a vote, it would have been crushed. Just like that. You traitors in the houses of treachery, I mean Parliament, or again, maybe I was right first time, you might want it, but we don't. Oh, actually, I just remembered something. No, not when my dinner is, shut up. I've remembered Ker the Traitor Starmer's little statement on the whole election petition. Because Ker the Traitor Starmer had the audacity, he literally has a brass fucking collar, I swear to God, to have the nerve to say that he is going to continue his plans of implementing change, which, let's face it, has about as much strength as a glass of soy milk. Anything Ker the Traitor Starmer says, almost every single person that isn't completely brain dead will just completely believe the opposite of everything he says. I don't think Ker the Traitor Starmer actually has it in him to actually tell us the fucking truth, because if he did, he would have that thing called a moral compass and realise what he's done is completely abhorrent. It's like that little point I made earlier. I'm willing to bet Ker the Traitor Starmer is the sort of person who would shoot someone dead and then say, "It wasn't me, officer, it was his fault because he died." We need to have a talk about the fucking shit that I get through my letterbox. What the fuck is this? What the fuck? I know I've said before I've got a banging set of tits, but that does not mean I identify as a fucking woman. Just fuck. That is so much better. Yes, I am very sure. Shut it. Though at least, unlike Ker the Traitor Starmer, I can actually tell you what a man and a woman is. Ker the Traitor Starmer has really struggled with that in these past few years. But that seems to be a common trend with the Labour Party, doesn't it? The way I look at it, we are definitely heading towards a civil war. I've said it many times before, I'll say it here again. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when it does happen, as I said several times, the oligarchy will only have themselves to blame. First they mocked us, then they laughed at us, then they fought us, then we win, put simply. The bottom line, as far as Ker the Traitor Starmer's little statement and the rest of this video is concerned, he says he's going to keep implementing his plans of change. What fucking changes are they? Because the only changes I see are ones that are going to be a massive detriment to this country. Bearing in mind, all these invaders that a lot of these wankers in the oligarchy are inviting into our country at our expense, turns out figures were put out, basically, that 1.3 foreign nationals, guess what? They're unemployed. 1.3 million. That's 1.3 million people we can send back, or at least a good portion of them anyway. I accept, devil's advocate, there may be some who actually do respect our cultures, our society, our laws, our beliefs and what have you. But we can't tell who they are. I can't sit here in good faith and say all of them are going to be good people. Likewise, I can't say in good faith that all of these people need to be deported. I can say a good portion can be, but I can't say all of them can, as I don't know all of them. I'm not sitting here claiming to have every fucking passport, stroke number 1, social security number, and I believe that's the US, not the UK. It's fucking national insurance number is the number I meant. Oh, fucking damn it. He's having a stroke! Just once, can I have a video that lasts more than 20 fucking minutes that doesn't involve me having a stroke? No, because that would be too easy, I guess. Anyway, I'm not sitting here claiming to have all their information, their details, how big their fucking family are, and what have you. Well, one thing I will say, though, is that any of these people who are trying to invite their family over, who are just going to merely be sponges in our society, we don't want them. If you want to bring people over, you need to have them working. You need to have them contributing. Obviously, the exceptions are going to be genuine children who obviously can't work because obviously they're too young and they don't have the skills. But what I will say is that all these changes that have been put in by Ker the traitor Starmer have been purely and unequivocally been for the detriment of good old-fashioned English Christian society. We don't want that. We want Christianity. Well, the vast majority of people want Christianity back. I'm not keen on Christianity, but I understand this is a Christian country, and I will respect this country all the same if it takes a full-fledged Christian approach. Just don't ask me to sign a fucking Bible with my name on it, quite frankly. But what I will say is, if Christianity is a predominant religion in this country, it should be the religion that is predominantly practiced. Not Islam, not Hinduism, not Buddhism, only Christianity. In the end, Ker the traitor Starmer wants to put an end to resistance. He wants to put an end to freedom of speech. He wants to put an end to good old-fashioned common sense and the English demanding better standards and wanting better for their country. The man is a parasite, not a prime minister. I would actually go as far as saying I think Adolf Hitler would have been a better fucking leader than Ker the traitor Starmer. And that's saying something, considering he was a far less socialist dictator. Or again, maybe I was right first time. I know some people are not going to like me comparing him to Hitler, but at the end of the day, they're both far left socialists. One of them was basically more proactive about taking over the world. Ker the traitor Starmer just wants to take over the country, I accept that, and he hasn't exactly been going around killing Jews. But it doesn't change the fact that he is in the same league as that far left socialist. The only thing he needs at this point is the mustache and the salute. Am I wrong? Prove it to me, Starmer. And here's the thing, I have every right to say that. I have every right to say what I've just said because of Article 10 of the Human Rights Act. Freedom of speech. Don't like it? Tough titties, my man. Tough fucking titties. Because I've definitely got the balls up here and down there to say it how it is. Because you lot, you can say it with me. I'm not going to sugarcoat a motherfucking thing. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm going to say it exactly how it is. And unlike Ker the traitor Starmer here, I will do my best not to bullshit you.